Last weekend, the GMTK Game Makers Toolkit Game Jam took place. The concept of Game Jam is really simple. You have a limited amount of time to create a game, respecting a certain theme. You have to create almost all of the assets and code on the spot. And in this case, you have 48 hours, and the theme was out of control. The Game Jam started on Friday the 10th at 9 p.m, so let's go! No, I wasn't available before Saturday 4 p.m. So let's go. I went for a game in which you are in a control room and you need to manage a nuclear plant. You have some buttons and sliders and some monitors, but the whole is really unstable and explosive. I started by creating a new Unity project and designing a simple scene, a board and a few windows. Then I made a little look script that rotates the camera with the keyboard and quickly edited it so we can move it with the mouse instead. I also designed a button that I put on the board. Then I had an idea. A terrible idea that cost me 5 hours. I decided to implement a hand that you'll control with the mouse to click the buttons. The hand will be a bit ragdollish to emphasize the theme out of control. So I started Blender and started modeling my hand. Then I rigged it and here is the result. It wasn't bad at all. But then the implementation went really bad. So after 5 hours of modeling and struggling, I flushed out the hand and went for a good old selection with a simple crosshair. It was a really hard decision since I spent almost 5 hours on the hand, but in a game jam, taking hard decisions is the key. Sometimes you better let out a whole mechanic because it already took you too much time and focus on the main gameplay. It was already late and I was tired and demotivated by the hand, so I went to bed to start with a fresh mind tomorrow. It is 10 in the morning. Yes, I'm in a game jam. I'm late and I slept 10 hours. It is now time to make some interface. And I found interesting to put everything on the walls, to force the player to look back and lose a bit of focus on the reactor. Basically, the reactor has some inputs: uranium control bars, coolant flow, coolant temperature, water pressure, some special actions: purge, boost, emergency stop, and outputs: poison, temperature, power. Here is the first code I wrote, but later I decided for the sake of clarity to left water pressure and coolant temperature behind. Now that the UI is implemented and working, it was time to design the reactor. I decided to go really simple, because I didn't have that much time left. I also designed a little slider interface to control values like control bars height or coolant flow. At this point, everything was going smooth, so I was really happy. I then wanted to upgrade the lighting in the scene, especially let the player turn off the control room light or the reactor light, and I wanted to make the uranium glow. And to do all of this, I needed a better light source control and post-processing. So I installed the URP package, but I rapidly went into a lot of troubles, and I had to update Unity, so it took me some time. But finally, everything was fine. To make the uranium and only the uranium glow, I added multiple cameras. One to render the background of the reactor, one the uranium with post-processing activated, and the third one to render the control room on the top. As you can see, everything was good, but I only had 3 hours and 30 minutes left. The reactor wasn't totally working yet. I didn't have sound, nor music, nor end, nor main menu yet, so it was time to rush things out. To create sound, I used a free software called SFXR. It is really effective, and in a few seconds I can create a few explosion, click and warning sounds. I also used Audacity to combine them. For the music, I used an online tool called Wolfram Tones. It is an AI that, giving some criteria like the theme and the tempo, generate a unique music. Here is what I came with. I don't own the music. The links for SFXR and Wolfram Tones are in the description. Finally, after a big rush, I came out with something really coherent and completely out of control since I didn't playtest it at all. I urgently added a tip screen as well as the description of the buttons on the board and some particle effect to visualize the boost. And at 10:50 in the evening, 10 minutes before the deadline, I successfully uploaded the game on itch.io. This experience was really rich. I only had 32 hours to make the game, and I'm really proud of what I came out with. I had to make some drastic decisions on the gameplay and the graphics, but they were important. If I didn't leave out the hand, I probably won't have the time to end this game on time. It's an interesting experience, especially for someone who struggles to stay motivated on a project, since you are under a great pressure of time. If you want to play the game, the link is in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe and tell me in the comment section your best tips on game jams. Thanks for watching.